Hi and welcome to another doll repainting video on my channel. This is a doll that I've been thinking of doing for a while, but after going last February to the Melanie Martinez concert, I just fell in love. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen, so it inspired me to finally do her. I'm using a Draculaura doll for this repaint. I'm removing her clothes and accessories, and then I'm cutting off all her hair. And I'm cutting the hair as close to the scalp as possible. I'm going to put her in hot water so it's easier to remove the head. I'm just going to slowly pull it off. And then using tweezers, I'm going to remove the hair from the inside and the glue by scraping it slowly and going around in circular motions. Then I'm using 100% acetone and I'm going to remove her factory paint. After that, I give the head a wash and I'm going to let her dry. I'm going to plug new hair in. I'm using blonde and black and I need a middle parting. I'm also only going to reroot the first 2 rows, if that makes sense, as the hair is very thick that I'm using, and I need to put it in ponytails and it'll be much easier. So here it is. This is what I meant. I have rerooted the black hair. I'm going to put it in a ponytail so it doesn't mix with the blonde. Reroot the blonde, and then I'm going to put some glue inside to secure the hair. Smoosh the head around just to get the glue everywhere. Put also the blonde hair, and then I'm going to protect the hair using a sock. I have sprayed the head with Mr. Super Clear 3 times and let it dry over 24 hours before I started working. I'm going to start blushing her, contouring, and then going in with the pinks. And to blend the pastel as perfect as possible, I'm using a cotton bud. To get the shapes, I'm going to use a light brown just to get the eye shapes. I'm using light brown just because it's easier to erase if I make any mistake until I get the eyes symmetric and nice. And here I'm erasing because they weren't matching. Much better. I'm still on my first layer and I'm going to get the basic eyebrow shape again with the light brown. As for the lips, I'm going for a nude color, highlighting the center, and filling in the brows using tiny little strokes to make the hair. Adding some eyeshadow, and I'm using a smaller brush just to give it more intensity, highlighting the brow bone and getting the eye color as well on my first layer. And here I'm already on my second layer, and I'm going to start adding the blacks and darker colors and also intensifying everything. And after every layer, I leave it on for 30 minutes before I start painting again, just to let it dry. And here I'm also putting some more highlights and shadows, and also I'm going to take some watercolor with some water and a tiny little brush just to get into the crease of the lips. And I'm also going to shade with it, darkening up the eyebrows, and I want them to be black. For some reason, it started scratching off the color of the eyes, so I sprayed it again with Mr. Super Clear, let it dry for a little longer, but it still didn't work. So later you'll see the blacks, like the eyeliner, I went over it with acrylic black paint. And here it's where it started scratching. You can see it. Let it be and put it on with the acrylic. Catch lights with white acrylic and adding a little bit of micro glitter on the cheeks to give her some sparkle. Then she had these little baby hairs which were really cute, and she gave them like shape using gel. So I'm just going to get the basic shape with the light brown and on the other side with the white. And then I'm going to go in with the black on the one side. And as for the other side, with the white for the blonde. And just adding tiny black strokes just to separate the hairs a bit and give them some dimension, and also a little bit of white on the other side. Then I took some micro glitter again and I did her eyeshadow using high gloss varnish. I'm going to gloss up the lips and the eyes. Let it dry, and then I did a few layers. Using gem glue, I'm going to add some eyelashes. They were a little bit too long, so I cut them up, made them a little bit smaller, and here she is. This is her face. I took a little gem hoop. I'm going to poke some holes by using a needle, and I warmed it up. Then I put some glue and I stuck the little thing in there to give her a septum, and I also added an extra nose ring using a gemstone. After that, I sprayed the body with Mr. Super Clear, and I'm going to draw on her tattoos, which I was a little bit hesitant because, well, they're tiny little things. She has a lot of them, and I was thinking maybe I shouldn't do them. Like in the movie, she put makeup over them and they were invisible, but then I thought, okay, I'll do them, and I'm so happy I ended up doing them because they gave her a little bit of extra detail and she looks so much better. I'm going to trace the shape of the foot just to make her socks, and while stitching the socks I put the lace and I couldn't turn it at all, so I ended up cutting it and reapplying it after I turned the sock and put it on her foot. You can see it here. Then I took some baby blue tulle to make her skirt. I'm going to cut it, then take elastic and zigzag my needle through, pull it so it becomes all nice and ruffled. Here's a skirt. I'm going to tie it on her waist and then cut off the excess and then cut it to the length that I want. After that, we're going for the corset, and I'm taking tape. I'm going to stick it on her, and I'm going to sketch out how I want the corset to look, where I want the stitching. I'm going to take it off after that, cut it, and stick it on paper to create my pattern. and I did like a few places, like I cut it just to make extra stitching, and this is going to help with it to get the shape of the body so it grabs onto her nicely. So here's the corset, and then I need to make some poofy sleeves, and I cut them in this shape where they're bigger and then they go smaller, so they get a nice poof on the top and then they're a little bit more fitted underneath. And then I'm going to stitch, I don't know exactly how to say it, but I'm just gonna stitch around some elastic so I can pull it to create the ruffly bit. I'm going to turn it, stitch them together, then turn it around, put it on the doll, and then I pulled the elastic, and here's how it looks, nice and poofy. Moving on to creating her neck part, she had this choker that came down to the corset and also had some sleeves. I took nice pink ribbon, the thinner one I could find, and I'm just gonna use glue to make it, and here how it should look like. And now to the fun part, to her skirt. I'm taking hoop earrings. I'm cutting off the, how do you call them, buckles of the earring. Then I'm taking a thicker pink skirt. I'm measuring around her waist. Then using the pink ones, I'm going to cut 5 of them, and I'm going to glue them on the tiny ribbon that I measured on her waist. And I'm going to glue them like this. Then taking the hoops, I'm taking the thicker pink ribbon, gluing it on the inside of each of the hoop earrings, with leaving some excess so I can close off the back bit, which is open. I'm going to put it on the doll, and I'm going to glue each of the other 5 thin ribbons on it, just like that. Once I glue all of them, I'm putting the thicker ribbon over to hide the earring and where the thinner ribbon is connected. Then I'm going to cut off the excess ribbon. And I made baby blue tiny ribbons, tiny bows, and I'm going to glue them on here and there on the skirt. But you need to have one in the middle of her waist. And here she is, the finished doll. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like her, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm also going to leave my Instagram in the description box.